Right? What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Tuesday night episode of Tech Q&A. If you do not know who I am your host of the show, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. Yes, we are engineered to win. That is what we do. We have the right mindset. We have the right focus. We have the right drive. We have the right work ethic.
They ain't believe in us.
They didn't believe in us, but we made it. We made it, all right? So let's get into it. Why don't we? Let's get into it. So let's start off with our announcements for today. We are in a new month. This is our first Q&A of the month of February. So, you know what that means? We should be having a cybersecurity show coming up very soon in the near future. I gotta check in with Socks to see if we are going to make that happen in the next coming weeks. You know, because we've been super busy. Yesterday we sent out our emails for our beta testers for Socks University. If you did not join, then shame on you. Shame on you. All right, tisk. All right, so let's get into our agenda for today, all right? Let's get into our agenda. So first and foremost, as always, I want to say thank you so much to all of the newest subscribers and all of the people who have been subscribed for a while now. You guys are amazing.
I appreciate you.
And of course, as always, salute to my Patreon members, my Tech Explorers, my Tech Prodigy Plus members, and my Tech Barbarians who are always putting in that work every single day. Relentless. That is the spirit of my Patreon members. Relentless, always pushing forward, always leveling up to get better. All right. So let's do this. Let's jump into our live show schedule. All right. And then we're going to circle back and, we're going to do what we do here. Right. So starting off Sunday afternoons, software explorations. We are going through Terraform, having a great time at it. We are still dealing with that pesky elastic beanstalk setup, but I'm going to get it. I am going to get it and I'm going to crush it. All right. So Sunday afternoons, software explorations. We're still working through Terraform. As soon as we're done with Terraform, we are going to transition straight into DevOps, because Terraform is not enough, right? Terraform is not enough. We want to be full DevOps. So we're going to get into Ansible. We're going to get into Packer and whatever other tools that's associated with it, right? that's what we're gonna do. Okay, there is no going backwards. We are always moving forward. So that's our goal for Sundays, right? And then Tuesday night, tonight, right? Tonight is Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. We are doing our Q&A sessions. You can call in. You can send me questions ahead of time. I can find questions, whatever the case may be. Ask questions in the chat, whatever it is, right? I'm here for you to answer your questions, all right? And then we have Thursday nights, more software explorations. We are going to continue this coming Thursday, refactoring our automation code on the Free Mind Recovery site by Jared at Calculus Coder. Go ahead and check out the Calculus Coder site and check out the freemindrecovery.com. Sign up for the site, right? And, we're going to continue adding some automation code, refactoring, making it look good, because what we did the past few weeks, we got it to work. But now, as always, it has to look good, because if it doesn't look good, then it is not, I repeat, it is not engineered to win. All right. So that is the goal. And then some changes coming to this, most likely, right? But the morning show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m., coffee and kata. So yesterday was our first day where we moved over to Flutter, developing in Flutter, learning Flutter, also developing in a test-driven development way. Go check out the stream from yesterday morning. We are building a keto calculator app, and we'll build some more apps in the future too, but that's our first one. We're writing our unit test. We write our test first, and then we write our code to make our test pass. That is the test-driven way. To me, that is the way that unit tests should be writing. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a QA engineer who's been doing in the industry for the past 20 years, so whatever. All right. So, however, like I said, there might be changes coming to the Fridays. Might have to get rid of that. Might have to do that a little later. Who knows? We shall see. Right? Once I get the full details, I'll let you guys know what's happening on Fridays. But let's run through that one more time. All right. Sunday afternoons, software explorations, going through Terraform. Tuesday night, tonight, Q&A. Thursday night, software explorations. And then the morning shows, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Coffee and kata. No more coding challenges. We're just coding now. We are just coding. All right. Shout out to the morning shows. Yeah. And all of our live shows. Okay. Now let's move on to our pre-recorded content, right? Mondays, Candid Conversations. This past Monday, I spoke about why your little startup is going to fail because you are not treating it as the business that it should be, right? You don't really care about it that much, So Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations. Tomorrow, we are going to be wrapping up our comparison between Playwright, Cypress, and Selenium. Right? So tune in for that. It's going to be a good one. And then Fridays, the bug bite. We're going to be talking about, is Tesla having a recall on a lot of its vehicles? We shall find out. All right. And then throughout the week, I've been dropping shorts. Yes, I have. And we have our Q&A clips as well. So additional shorts and clips throughout the week. And, sometimes I might feel a little froggy and drop some more. Who knows? Who knows? But that is our pre-recorded content one more time. Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. And Fridays, the Bug Bite. And then we have shorts and additional content throughout the week. All right. So shout out to the live shows. Shout out to the pre-recorded content. Something here for everyone. All right. All right. Next up on the docket, check out Chaos Camp. Created by my good friend Don out there on the West Coast. He creates real-world software development and QA situations. And you go to the GitHub. I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now, right? You go to the GitHub and you pick a challenge. Pick a challenge. Pick your poison. All right. Boom, right there. Pick your poison. I've done the web MP, or what is it called? It's an MP3 challenge, right? Where you have to extract data from an audio file. I've done the rock, paper, scissors challenge. I've done the bastardly, what do you call that one? The web automation UI challenge with the shadow DOM where things change all the time. We're doing the open the Open AI API automation challenge. We've done a lot of them, and they like I tell every single time I do one, it helps me get better. It helps me get better. So definitely check out my boy Don at the Chaos Cat GitHub and challenge yourself. Challenge, like, that's what I'm all about here, right? Challenging yourself. Okay. And just real quick, speaking of challenge, this past weekend I was in a jiu-jitsu tournament. Didn't go exactly the way that I expected it to go, but it is what it is. I got out there, I got on the mat, I put myself on the line, and I had a great time and met some amazing people. And that's what it is about, pushing yourself further every single day. All right. So that's my message to you. Check out Chaos Camp, right? Push yourself. Push yourself. That's like if you fall 100 feet ahead, you're gonna be falling a lot further than the people who never tried it all. Right. So I'd rather fall down the line instead of standing still in the same exact spot for the rest of my life. All right. So just throwing that out there. Okay. Next up, right? Grammar Hub. If you need a tech community that has weekly meetings, that's going to help you learn, who's going to review your resume for you, who's going to help you prep for interviews, and a network that you can build so you can like build your GitHub network, get people that you can reach out to, all that type of stuff, I would recommend that you go check out the Grammar Hub Discord, right? Amazing tech people, a lot of like people learning development, people who are already in there. There's a lot of seniors in there. Last night, I did a presentation on what is QA engineering and what do QA engineers do, right? It went well. I had a great time with them and meeting with them. So I would highly recommend you check that out. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Let them know that Tech Coach Ralph sent you. And I'm gonna try to get some of the people who run it to come onto the channel so that we can have so they can tell us a little bit more about it, how it got started, what they do, things like that. I've only been in there for like a month and I am having a great time. Every Monday they meet and something, if you want to grow in the tech field, that's a great place. And guess what? They do something that I can't do. What is that? Huh? What is that? They do it for free. They do it for free. A community of people who are here to help each other. I do not have that capacity to be able to do this type of stuff for free. But, at a group setting, I am more than happy to join and share the wealth. But one-on-one coaching and stuff like that, that's not in my capacity. All right. So let me get the link up as well for the call-in link in case anybody wants to call in. I can get that ready for you as well. All right. So like I said, join the Grammar Hub Discord. Go ahead and level up today. Okay. So there we go. All right. So before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge Mitch in the chat with the thumbs up. Shout out to you, Mitch. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I really, really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right. Love when Mitch is around. Very, very amazing person. All right. So the next topic is, why is this thing not working? Hold on 1 second. Let's get this thing to work. There we go. Let's get the stream up in case anybody wants to call in. All right. Call-in link is pinned to the top of the chat. Feel free to call in and we can have a conversation, okay? So next up, before we go any further, if you haven't done so yet, right? If you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. So much content being dropped here, something here for everyone. So go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video with everybody. All right. Leave me a comment, message me in the chat. whatever the case may be. And guess what? We have channel memberships available if you want to support the channel, get access to cool custom emojis, whatever the case may be, right? Let me see if, whatever the case may be, we are here and I appreciate all of your support as always. What did I do? All right, that's back on. Okay, cool. So with that being, and as well, don't forget to check out the Patreon if you need one-on-one coaching, or you need access to exclusive information that I reserve on, like how should you set up your resume? How should you set up your LinkedIn? What type of questions should you ask in interviews, right? All of that I have in the Patreon. Go ahead and check it out. And I'm going to be dropping a new video very, very soon as well, right? So just letting you guys know what is available out there, okay? So here's what I want to ask, right? Here's the question I want to ask. Is networking useful? And if it is, how useful is it? Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to put a poll in the chat. And you let me know what you think. And we'll say, all right, there goes the poll in the chat, right? Is networking useful? Yes, no, somewhat. And let me know what you think as well, right? So one person already said yes, right? So 100% yes right now, right? So here's what I think about networking as we get into it. I think it is. Oh, we got Bridget in the chat. What's up, Bridget? Shout out to you, Bridget. One of my favorite people. All right. So here's what I think, right? It is useful to a certain extent, right? So I was having this, there was in one of the Slack groups that I'm in, someone asked about someone was talking about networking. I'm like, to me, it's like 10 to 15% useful. Why is that, right? Because guess what? At the end of the day, the networking, it's all about it's great. You can know a bunch of people, right? But if you don't know how to do anything, it's only so useful to you, right? Because you can know 10,000 people, right? And you can they can recommend you for this, that, and the other. But if you can't do it, someone might take a chance on you and give it to you, but then they're going to get rid of you because you can't do it. Or you just can't get to whatever it is you're trying to get because you don't have the skill and the ability. To me, having the skill and the ability goes a long way, for me at least, right? I see myself, right? When it comes to networking and stuff like that, I see myself, I am the network, right? I'm the network. I'm the hub, because I'm able to pivot here, there, the other stuff, So then it's like a lot of people, they're really crazy about conferences and stuff like that. And I'm like, for me, if I have to travel to go to some conference to meet a bunch of people, for me, I'm like, I could use my time to build something that I can put out there and get feedback and stuff like that. I don't know. It's maybe it's my mind, the way that my mind works, right? But I'm like, I don't like living off hope. So I'm like, okay, let me go meet all these people, and then hopefully one of them pans out and gives me something that I might need, or I can just go get it myself, right? It's just the way that I've always been was I just go and get it myself, So that it's a weird thing, right? It's a weird thing. And if I had I always choose, the way that it comes down to, for me at least, is I always have to bring it back to me and me being in control of my results, my destiny, things like that, So it's always hard for me to say oh, networking is the most important thing. Networking is the most important thing when I know that my skills, my ability, what I don't know, because it's like this, right? I always see things as whatever the outcome is, it's my fault, right? Whatever the outcome is my fault. If I win, I did good. If I lost, I did bad. You know, in the tournament, the on Saturday, right? I made a mistake. Simple as that. I made a mistake, and I ended up losing. Totally my fault. But the same way, when I win, I did something right. Maybe they made a mistake, but I still did something right to capitalize. You know what I mean? So, all right, Bridget says, networking is like marketing. Word of mouth referrals are the best things to get, targeted and personal, right? So, I agree with you, right? And part of that like discussion we were having in Slack in that Slack group was that, you know, it's more about it's you can know 1,000 people, like you can be connected with 10,000 people, right? However, that it might be really like 100 people who really know you, and they trust your reputation, they trust your ability, they're really like they're willing to recommend you. Like, who would put their reputation on the line for you, right? And to me, that right there is a true network. But you build that, to me at least, you build that over relationships and a lifetime, instead of like, oh, I'm just like going to try to meet a bunch of people and hopefully something pans out, right? So that's how I see it. That's how I see networking and things like that. I don't know. Could be me. But I've always been like betting on myself, right? When I win, I win. When I lose, right? But it's always been hard to, and don't get me wrong, I've had I I I build a network, right? But I think another thing for me, at least, that it always makes it a bit difficult for me to network is because when people don't move as fast as I would like them to move, I can't wait. You know, I just can't wait. So I'm like, all right, we got to keep going. I have to keep going. It's my train. I have a destination that I'm trying to get to at a certain time. So then when trying to work in a group or something like that, and we're not moving at the speed that I want to move, then I'm like, well, I got to keep going. And so for me, like networking and working with people and stuff like that, it's always a balancing act for me, because I'm like, I know where we should be, but sometimes that network can slow you down. So for me, I like the people who want to network with me to move along with me at the speed that I'm going. I don't know. That's me, right? Maybe I'm crazy. Who knows, right? Who knows? But that's my thoughts on, is networking useful? It's useful to a certain extent, right? But at the end of the day, it all falls down on you. What is it that you are going to do? What is it that you are going to produce? All right. So that's what I think. All right. So let's see what is next on our agenda before we move forward. Okay, cool. So we're going to get into the show. Remember, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video, leave me a comment, interact in the chat. Go to connect.techcoachralph.dev to see all the places you can connect with me. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can get one-on-one coaching as well as access to exclusive content. And you can also join the channel membership, where you can get cool stuff. I'm going to be figuring out more stuff to release for the members only. But what I do now is the Q&A videos. I release that to members only ahead of time before it gets published to the public. So, just figuring out different things on this YouTube membership side of things. Okay. So we're going to get into our show, into our Q&A. All right. We're going to get into Q&A. Let me pull the questions up. So I have a couple of things, right? But before we go to that, let me get some.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
All right. So I actually have a question that I got in one of the Discords that I'm in that I want to share, right? So this question, let's start off our question. Right? So 5 minutes. So the format, 5 minutes per question, and then we shall actually. Let me see if I can do this other thing too. Not sure. Let's see if we can do start goals, start answer question. Let's see what this one. What's this? Let me see. Never used this before. Let's see what this does. The Q&A thing. Cool. I don't know what that's going to do, but we shall see. All right. So let's see what happens next. Okay. So 5 minutes per question. Let's put the timer up. And we will. I'm going to read the question, start the timer, and then I'll give my answer. When the timer runs up, then we shall move on. All right. All right. So I got this question in one of the discords that I'm in. All right. It says,
Another one.
says Tech Coach Ralph, do you think devs should get better at writing tests, or is it better to have a QA engineer do that? So that is a great question. That is a totally great question. I love it. Start the clock. So I think that devs, it's essential for them to have a testing perspective, testing mindset. They don't need to be full QA engineers, because if they were, then who would be doing the development, right? There's a big separation between what developers do and what QA engineers do, right? However, I do believe that developers need to be absolutely amazing at writing unit tests, right? And writing unit tests is like, you need to know, it's not only do you need to know, like be able to test the path, the code path and stuff like that, but you need to be able to put in the right data that's going to make to verify that the code is doing what it's supposed to do. One of the things that I am particularly fond of, and that's why in the morning shows we're doing it using test-driven development. I'm particularly fond of TDD, thanks to Robert C. Martin. And like I'm still getting better at it, at writing the tests first, writing like to the point of failure, right? So it's not like you just write a whole test and then you code around it. You go step by step, right? So then I would write as much as it's gonna fail. Like, so failure to compile is a failing test, right? So write it and then write the code to make it pass. Write the test to keep going, write the code to make it pass. Seems like it's a long cycle. However, you get immediate feedback. And for me at least, the feedback loop of something failing and then passing, failing and that passing, it's telling me, okay, you're on the right track, right? And then and that's what I like most about using test-driven development. It is a bit of a hard thing for a lot of developers to adopt, because on one hand, developers, like when they're developing on their own, for instance, right? They just want something. They just want to work, and then they have no testing in place. But I think having good unit tests is the most important thing of your development code. The number is the most, because guess what? You need to know if you change something in the code that you didn't break something everywhere else, right? So for me, at least, having good unit tests is one of the most important things that you can have as a developer. And I would recommend doing that in a test-driven development way. But, having unit tests is better than having no unit tests. For me, the cherry on top, it's kind of, for me, but I'm not going to go that far, right? But I would say it is very, very important to have unit tests. If you can do it in a test-driven development way, even better, right? And there's so many resources out there, like on YouTube. Like there's people who go where they build it, using test-driven development so you can have an idea of how to do it. It seems like it's slow, but studies have shown that it's actually faster doing it that way than if you do it the other way where you don't even like you either write the test afterwards, like you do a bunch of code, then you have to go scan through the code to write a bunch of tests and seeing like what are the different code paths, or you can just do it first, right? And then you don't have to do like all that rework. And then every time you write the code, you make it work, and then you refactor. So you write a failing test, write a passing test, you refactor. Write a failing test, write a passing test. So you write a failing test, you make the test pass, and then you refactor. Write a failing test, make the test pass, and you refactor. Loop after loop after loop. Now, the other side of the coin is, what about the QA engineers? So for me, QA engineers, they focus on the functional testing, right? They focus on the risks. They focus on the different ways that an application could work. You think about what can a client do, what can a customer do? Because guess what? The things that we think about, I don't know how customers and clients get all the way to some other side, and it's crazy to me, right? How it's crazy to me, like how clients like they can think of ways that the developers and the QA and the business people, they just cannot think of, right? But we have to think about those ways. We need to be able to. So I would say on the QA engineer side, think about that. Writing the automated test, doing the API testing, right? It's part of the integration test. There's been like so many different things that I have touched, like in my role as a senior QA engineer, and as my whole time in QA, where I'm so like just the other day, right? I was mentioning that I wrote a script using Python to automate like going into AWS S3 to do some certain operations, right? Or I do some Terraform stuff. All of those go outside. Those are even outside of QA for the most part, right? But for instance, when in the video streaming industry, I've had videos where like I had to figure out how to use the M3U8 parser to do testing there, right? So it like being creative, being like have a critical thinking mindset, being a pioneer, exploring, figuring out new tools, new packages, new features, so that you can further enhance the quality, right? Writing tests, whether it's unit tests or functional tests, that's just one small aspect of quality. Quality is a whole encompassing thing, and that I could not put that on developers to be responsible for all the quality, right? And that's where the QA engineers come in, because they are responsible comprehensively for the quality of a software. Developers mainly for like building the code, which that's a daunting task in itself. Thinking about, okay, how can we build this code to do what we want it to do, right? But now on the quality side, the QA engineers are like, okay, how can we ensure that this application is working the way that it should be? There are no defects or minimal defects, and there is customer satisfaction and ease of use, right? So, and what I said when I was responding to the person in the Discord is that when the QA engineers are doing their part and the developers are doing their part, and they bring that all together, the synergy and the harmony that we have there makes it a great application and a great environment to work in. All right. So that is my thoughts for that. And let me know what you think in the chat. And and that's why I mentioned as well the Grammar Hub Discord, because they have presentations every week. They have some type of presentation, some type of group thing. And me having the opportunity to do that QA engineering presentation to a group of people who don't hear much about QA, right, and about testing and stuff like that. And one of the requests that I had in there is like, hey, can we do a like code along about like unit testing and stuff like that? Which you heard it here first. I am gonna make it happen, right? So getting with a group of people who are learning, and to me, that's not right. Getting with a group of people who are going in the same direction that you are, who have the same interests as you are, right? That you have, right? So that is me being able to share the importance of quality and how to make quality work. I think that is part of the goal, part of the key. All right. So with that being said, that is my answer to that. All right, let's set our timer. And let's get to our next question. Let me pull it up. And for the poll, 75% says yes, it's useful, and 25% says somewhat. All right, let's get to our next question.
Another one.
So this one says DevOps work. At my current software development engineering test gig, I'm ending up having to do a surprising amount of DevOps stuff. Define Dockers, build them remotely, set up deployments in the cloud, provision pods, etc., all using deployment tools I've never used before. I've never been expected to do so much ops side work before, and this isn't by any means a small company. So what gives? What gives? Is this the new normal? Flying without an IT or sysops net? Previously in my career, deploying instances and creating environments was the job of an ops, DevOps, IT team, or else it was a mostly push button process. So the question is QA now responsible? Well, wait. Not QA. Is an SDET now responsible for DevOps work? Well, let's start the clock and find out. The answer is, number one, it entirely depends on the company. But I'll tell you this, right? Don't threaten me with a good time, all right? So the role of, here's the thing, right? Define QA engineer. Define SDET, right? I mean, if you want, like, if you're a manual tester, then cool, right? And you just have you have one job, right? But if your role is dynamic as a QA engineer or as a software development engineer and test, you're a developer, right? You're an engineer, you're a developer, right? So there's no like, oh, and this is what we spoke about the other day. It's not my job. It's not my job. Well, it's not your job. It's going to leave you without a job, right? I jump into all types of stuff because I want to be able to not only further my learning ability, but most importantly, I want to add value to the people that I'm working with, to my company, to my stakeholders, to the customers, to my team members, right? To me, adding value is always the number one priority, right? Keeping your clientele satisfied. You are a business. I made a video about this the other day. You are a business. Keeping your customers happy. And what is it that you want to be doing as an SDET? For me, SDETs, Q engineers, whatever, it's about finding solutions. Okay, so your automated tests, right? Let's say you're running automated tests. They need to run somewhere. CI/CD pipeline, right? It needs to be set up somehow. So you're capable of doing it, or maybe you're not capable of doing it based on what you said, but you're still finding a way to do it. And there's tons of things that you can learn. So here's what ends up happening, right? If you don't want to do it, then they're going to find somebody like me who does want to do it and who's going to crush it. And then now you're going to be on the outside looking in, and you're going to be feeling salty because I took your job, right? Here's what you have to understand. Technology, being in the tech industry, we are moving to a time where the title doesn't really mean much. The title is something that they need to put on like your record at the company, right? But you have to be flexible. You have to be fluid. You need to be able to pivot, right? I love learning new things. Why do you think I go live so much? Every time we go live, if it's not the Q&A show, right? We're doing software explorations now in the morning with Flutter, different QA tools on Thursday nights, right? Terraform on Sunday, right? It's always learning something and then putting them to use. We've been learning Terraform since like September, and now we have actually used Terraform to build our infrastructure for the application that the tech barbarians are building. You know, and that's why, like, so you're looking for a sysops team or a DevOps team or something like that. From the places that I've been, like the past two tech companies that I work for, as a QA engineer, I took on the deployment process just to make sure that we had it at the time that we want, in the way that we wanted, and stuff like that. I had never did the deployments and stuff like that, but me logging into servers, running the code to do the deployments, I didn't mind that, because I want to be able to do anything. Make yourself invaluable. Not unvaluable, invaluable. Always looking to learn, always looking to grow, right? I don't say that I can't do it. I say, let me find out. See, there you go right there.
Message.
You don't say that you can't do it. It's let me find out. And then once you find out the information, maybe it's something that like you don't take the main responsibility on, but you can find out the information and distribute it, right? Part of QA, doing research. Part of SDET, doing research. What is it that you want to do? You just want to like build little libraries and stuff for the other QA engineers or QA team to consume and stuff like that. What is the problem with setting up the infrastructure to facilitate for your QA team, for your developers and stuff like that, right? I mean, I do deployments all the time. So like I said, don't threaten me with a good time. If I have to take on DevOps and stuff like that, hey, I'm all for it. And that's part of why on Sunday afternoons, after we're done with Terraform, we're going to be transitioning into DevOps. Yes, we are. We're going to be transitioning into DevOps. All right. So that's why I tell you to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Because when we transition into DevOps, I want you to be there to be learning right alongside with me. All right. If not, then it's up to you. All right. So let's wrap that question up. All right. Let's move on. Like I just said, if you are enjoying the stream, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. Check out the Patreon if you need one-on-one technical coaching with me and you want access to exclusive content that I share, such as how to set up your resume, where you can see me setting up my resume, right? As well as the questions that you should ask during an interview process. Because a lot of times they'll ask you, do you have any questions for me or for us? And you'll be looking like, not really. But there are some questions that they will be on point, that you'll leave them saying, wow, that's a good question. I never thought about that. And we should talk to them again. You know what? They should probably work here, So that's the type of information that I have in there. Check it out, right? And if you want to support the channel, go ahead and join the membership of the channel. Become a tech mercenary. All right? We are mercenaries out here. Okay, next up. Let's get to our next question.
Another one.
My employer wants me to work 48 hours every other weekend. So I'm a support worker and I usually work 2 days on and 4 days off. So altogether, I work 48 hours, which works out kind of fine since I get 4 days to do whatever I like. However, my employer is planning on switching my client, which will mean I work my 2 days on every other weekend. I believe this to be completely unreasonable as I am sacrificing those full 48 hours twice a month. I have a social life. I'm 30. I just moved to a new country. I shouldn't have to explain why this doesn't work for me. I don't, I don't, I do not want that. I will be absolutely miserable. I've only been with the company coming up on 3 months. Probation is 6 months. I don't know how to decline this. I'm thinking of using the excuse that I've already signed up and paid for fitness classes on the weekends, and I'm already sacrificing the days where I do my 2 days on. What should I do? All right. Let's start. Before I start the timer, somebody told me that in a comment one time that the sound effects weren't really necessary, but I have so much fun with the sound effects, right? Like when the dramatic reading and stuff like that, and then you just so cool, so cool. All right, so what is this? All right, let me see what's going on here. Why can I not see the chat yet? Let's do that. Let's see if I can see what's going on in the chat. Let me see. Why did I not see this one come up? Let me see. There we go. It says Peter Investor says salute to you, Coach Ralph, and your chat. Salute to you too as well. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. And it says, is Metcalfe's law applicable? I don't know what Metcalfe's law is. So if you want to fill me in on that, I can, I'll see. But let's get back to the question, right? So let's get to the question, right? Let's get to our answer. So start our clock. And here we go. What should you do when your employer wants you to work 48 hours every other weekend and you don't want to? Well, you can try to talk to your employer and say, "Hey, I don't want to do it." But guess what? If you do not have these strict, like if you're not living in a country with these strict laws where they say, "Hey, I don't know, these labor laws or something like that," or maybe you're not working for the UAW and you don't have Richard Fain to march and protest and whatever, and then you end up getting laid off a few months later after they strike a deal because the company couldn't afford the deal anyways, but they needed the people to get back to work, then you might be SOL, right? So what do you do? Well, it depends. How much do you need that job, right? If it is a requirement of the company, and it depends, right? Which it somewhat depends on it. Like when you sign, like when you accepted to work for the company, what did you agree upon? Was it that like you had like a strict, oh, we will never have you work this thing, or it's, hey, right now you're gonna work this schedule, but it might change, right? And once they changed it, it's this is what's gonna be, right? One thing for me, right? I don't know about you guys, but I will never put my social life over my wallet.
Money.
I can't do it. I can't do it. You know? I just can't do it. I don't know. So now you're like, And the excuse of I signed up and paid for fitness classes as an employer, okay. Like, hey, we need you to do this job. If you'd rather go do your fitness classes, I can definitely find somebody else to take on this role. And we'll remember that. We don't hold grudges, but we remember that, right? I shall remember that. So, I mean, it's really up to you. Like, no one is. So here's the thing, right? I mean, in some countries, they kind of do hold a gun to your head where you just can't quit. But for the most part, no one is forcing you to work for this company. If you do not like the working conditions, you have a choice. You can leave and you can go look for another job. And the best of luck to you, right? But it's a balance. Like it depends, right? It depends on how well you negotiate, what the employer says. If they say no, this is what it is. Depends on the laws as well of the country that you're in. Some countries they have really strict labor laws. Some countries not so much. I don't know what country you're in. It all depends, right? But for me, I'm going to go with what is in the best interest of me, including number one, what's in the best interest of my pocket. So I don't know. I mean, you already work 2 days on and then 4 days off. So for me, like, can't you find the stuff that you do over the weekend during the week? I don't know. It's I don't know. It's really up to you at that point. But all I know, if you can't come to an agreement, you're going to have to make a choice. And a lot of people, they don't want to make the choice. They think that, like, here's the deal, right? A lot of people think that employers have endless money and that whatever it is that you want for your personal life, they're supposed to bend to your every whim. It just doesn't work that way. And it's a business at the end of the day, right? It's a business. So if you as a business and them as a business can't come to a contractual agreement of how we're going to work, then it is fair to part ways and not have to take part in that contract, right? Simple as that. It's a contract. Everything is a contract. And if you are not able to meet the terms of that contract on either side, whether it's the employer or the employee contract relationship, then go your separate ways. Do what you got to do. That's how I see it, right? It's not that the employer is always right or the employee is always right. It's what can we agree upon and let's work together and go from there, right? So that is my thought on that topic. All right, let's wrap that one up. All right, so let me see what Peter Investor said. So first he said, is Metcalfe's law applicable? And then he followed up saying, it's the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of connected users or devices in the network. So, that is a very interesting. That's a very interesting law. I think without knowing too much about that, but what I'll say is I think there's a big component of quality to it as well. I think the quality of the network matters a great deal because you can know a lot of people who don't really can really like. Okay, let's put it like this, right? So let's say I know a bunch of people who are into fixing cars, right? But I am looking for something like very technical or something like that, where that they might not be able to, that network might not be able to help me as much. They might know somebody who might be familiar with it, but I don't know, right? So I don't know. It's a very like good question, and I think the quality of the users and devices in that network play a big role of it, right? So I don't know. I gotta think about that some more. But that's a very, very interesting question. I like it. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. So thank you so much for that question. But you made me think. You made me think. Thank you, Peter, investor. All right. Let's get to our very next question because I have a meeting at 9:30, by the way. So I gotta speed up a little bit, right? So the next question is
Another one.
need advice on choosing a job. I have two offers. One startup, unstable, 3 days office, senior role, and a little higher pay. Two, the second job, good company, fully remote, junior role than expected and lower pay. Offer one, wait, okay, almost lower pay than offer one, which is almost $20,000 lower. I need to learn new technologies for both C Sharp in offer one and Ruby in offer two. Both companies seem to have toxic teams. I have no one else to consult. Well, you can go and check out Text Coach Ralph, Patreon, sign up for one-on-one coaching with me where you can level up your technical skills as well as your career. All right. Need your help and suggestion. Okay. So not much information here, but let's start the clock, right? So two toxic environments. All right. Don't threaten me with a good time. Again, my goodness, this must be my night. So the first one is a startup, unstable, 3 days in the office, senior role, and a little bit higher pay. I mean, a little bit higher pay. 20K is not a little bit higher pay. Let's do the math real quick. Let's do the math. We shall see. Where's my calculator? So 20K. And if you divide that by, let's say you get paid twice a week, that's a gross of $770 every 2 weeks. That is not, I mean, after taxes and stuff, depending on where you live. If you live in California, that might be zero. You might be negative. You might be paying money on that. But anyways, that is not the point. So which one would I go with if it was up to me, right? Well, I am inclined, without much detail or context, to be closer to offer one, right? Because of the senior role, it is a startup, which I actually kind of like startups because you get to build a lot of experience. You get to pave a path. Startups, for the most part, are a bit unstable, to be fair. 3 days in the office. I'm not crazy about the 3 days in the office. I do like the senior role, and I do like the almost $800 every 2 weeks higher pay. The question for me is how far is the office? That's a big that's a big factor for me, right? So when on company two, where you have it's a good company, it's fully remote. I like fully remote, but a junior role, $20,000 less, you know. But you might have the opportunity to grow, although it takes a lot longer. Sounds like a bit more stable company, right? But one question that I would ask is the time to drive. So I'll put it like this: when I was looking for a new position, right? And I had a company where it was like hybridish, right? But you just have to go into the office every now and then. Um, the part of the thing that I considered was how far, what's the growth opportunity, how much time it takes to get there, tolls, gas, all of that, right? And then I did the math and I calculated versus like the amount of higher pay to go to that location versus the lower pay to work fully remote and not have to put mileage on my car, not have to pay a bunch of gas, not have to do a bunch of stuff that I really don't want to do, right? And determining those decisions, right? In my case, the roles weren't really that much of a factor. However, you got to think about the size of the company too, right? And what you're going to be doing, the type of company. So for me, I wanted to be in a purely tech based company and not like a this type of company that has tech, like it has an IT team. I wanted to be in a technology company, right? So those are the things that you have to consider when making these type of decisions. But for me, like the 3 days in the office, if it's not too far and stuff like that, being in a senior role, that's like and showing your face, it, that is, see that right there is part of networking, like networking with the people who are working in the office, and in the startups. It means if it's a small company, that means you can get close with the CEO, with the CTO, with the whatever C-suite people. You can show the value that you're adding. You can gain some valuable experience, right? While in a bigger company as a fully remote is good, but junior, you have like, it just depends at that point, right? But $800 every other week, right? That's like $1,600 a month that you're leaving on the table for a good company that's a junior role, fully remote. You gotta do the math. At the end of the day, you gotta do the math, right? Learning new technologies, C sharp in one, Ruby in the other, not a big deal whatsoever. Um, I kind of would, I mean, I would say learn both, but like even on your own, I kind of like C sharp as it is probably a little bit more prevalent than Ruby. But and if both companies are toxic, go get the experience, make the most of it. Don't I don't know. You got to do the math, right? You have to do the math on this one. There is no set answer because an extra $1,600 a month is no laughing matter, right? $800 every 2 weeks. Senior role goes a long way, and that way, okay. So think, and one last thing, right? If you were to take a position where you were making 20K more at a senior role, and for all intents and purposes, it doesn't work out, but you're able to gain some valuable experience in a startup, a small company that you're able to put things in motion. Now, when you're looking for another place, you, not only that you start off like you can on your resume, you're not a junior, you're a senior level, as well as you have more like a higher pay that you go up from there. So it just depends, gotta do the math, but I am leaning towards company number one because of the seniority that you get, the extra pay that you get, and the responsibility and value that you can bring into a small company that is a startup that needs some good structure and direction. If you need additional assistance and guidance in making that process work, then there is Tech Coach Ralph available to help you throughout all of that. All right. So just sharing that. Thank you for your question. And let's wrap that question up. And it is absolutely my pleasure, Peter Investor. Absolutely my pleasure. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's say this. So before we get to our next one, if you are enjoying the stream, which I know you are because I'm having a great time at least, go ahead and like the video, share the video, leave me a comment, drop something in the chat. Let me know that you're here, that you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. All right. And if you want to connect with me, go to connect.techcoachralph.dev. That is the open source version of Linktree that I created, which is very, very cool. Did it in like 2 days, right? So always coming up with something new, right? But definitely go check it out and connect with me that way. Okay. So let's move on to the next one.
Another one.
This one says, what is the difference between contract and acceptance test? They seem to be the same concept in sending real requests to the server and ensuring the response looks right. Does anyone know what the difference actually is? All right, so let's start off our timer. So funny enough, just last week, I was in a training for contract testing. Yes, I was. And we were doing the contract. So it was based on the library or package, depending on what tool that you use, called Pact, right? And so that was my first time using Pact. This is my first time like really hearing about contract testing. So there's the difference. I think there's a pretty big difference between contract testing and acceptance testing. I I would personally put contract testing on a closer realm of like unit testing. But really, what contract testing is doing is it's so I'm going to break it down to how the trainer broke it down to us, right? In APIs, there is a provider and there's a consumer, right? What contract testing is doing is it's testing the API contract, right, between the consumer and the provider, right? So, and then based on that, there can be like there's consumer driven contracts and then there's provider driven contracts, right? And you can do the testings in on both sides, right? So you can say, okay, this is a provider driven contract, and we're going to do the testing that way. And then you can do that. There's a consumer driven contract, and you're going to do the contract testing that way. There's also something called bidirectional testing, which is all that I learned. I learned all of this. That's not all that I learned, but I learned all of this last week in the training. So now that since you asked that question, I'm going to share it with you, right? So with that being said, with the contract testing, so the consumer defines how their contract is, like how they want the contract to be, right? And then and now the provider, they would take that and say, okay, does the consumer's contract match the contract that we're putting out, right? And the thing is with the consumer driven contract, you can have different consumers having a version of the contract that the provider has to adhere to, right? So that is the general gist of contract testing. And with the tools like Pact and stuff like that, who facilitate this type of contract testing. So you'd have like a contract repository, right? Saying, okay, and that's why I have a hard time understanding like the question about the relationship to acceptance testing, because from what I saw, when you're doing the contract testing, it is so integrated with the code base, right? So let's say you're coding in C#, then you're going to have your contract test in C#, right? So you're saying, okay, you are like the same way you do unit tests, where you would say, okay, I am going to call this class and then extend and then like use this method in this class to perform this action. And then these, like when I'm passing these parameters into my unit test, this is what I should get. And this is what I should, and so this is my expected results. That's pretty much the way that the contract test goes, right? So you say, okay, this, I'm calling in this class that's doing these API calls, the API requests, right? And the API, so this controller is saying that, and that's the thing, the contract testing is happening at the controller level, right? So you're saying that this controller does a post to this endpoint, right? So now you're calling that controller and you're saying that you're calling that controller, you're saying that when I do this post, this is how we expect the provider to return this type of this request to us, right? So that is like, so that's the part of the contract. It's so integrated into the code base, right? That for me at least, it's more of a unit test level, but it's not a unit test because that's not what unit tests do, right? So now they go into the contract repository. So the consumer sends it to the provider as well as to the contract repository, and the provider also goes to like, so they meet in the middle and they say, okay, here is like everything matches, you're good to deploy, or we have a conflict, something doesn't match, and then now you have the conversation between teams. And here's the difference between unit tests and definitely like, so I don't like, to me acceptance test is not in the picture, right? But this is the difference between the unit test and the contract test, right? The unit test, you are testing out your code paths in your code base, right? But with the contract test, whether it is an external API provider or it is a like let's say your team works on two different microservices, right? And they're communicating with each other, you can have contract tests between those microservices where that and those are like testing two different applications, right? Two different APIs. So that you're saying, okay, do these APIs work well and communicate well together, or are there some conflicts that we need to resolve, right? A quick example that we got this one in the course, in the training, right? If the date format is supposed to be in one way, like let's say it's supposed to be year dash month dash day, right? But the other microservice is like the provider is returning it in like writing out the month, like so writing out February 4th, 2024. Then like although they're both returning a date, but the format is incorrect, and the contract test would fail because of the incorrect format, right? But that's not a unit test because in the unit test it is testing that code path. So the code path would say, okay, yeah, it creates a date, great. But with the contract testing, it's comparing it's seeing if the two services, the two APIs are in sync or if they're in harmony. So it's saying if one says this date format is being sent is expected this way, but we're actually sending the date format that way. Now we have Houston, we have a problem, and then we need to work that out. All right. So hopefully that gave a good understanding and explanation of what contract testing is and difference between total difference between acceptance testing, but hopefully it does give a difference between that and unit testing. All right. Hopefully that helps. All right. So we are moving along. Yes, we are. Let's get to our next question.
Another one.
This one says, new testers keep bugging me. I work in a company as level 1 tester and I'm here for 1 year now. I was first a few testers that's why I had to learn everything on my own. Now they hired new testers level 1 and 2. They keep asking me the questions, and after I tell them the same thing 2 to 3 days after I tell them the thing 2 or 3 days after, when I take it to my lead, he takes their side and tells me to teach them again. For me, it's like those guys are getting paid more, have less knowledge about the company, and me still getting target every time. My goodness, this writing is driving me crazy here. Still getting targeted every time. Other old testers simply say they don't know, which I can't, as they have seen me do the task. Okay, well, I guess they didn't have you take a class on how to write complete sentences, but that is neither here nor there. Let's start the clock, right? Let's start the clock. All right, so I think that you are, let's be nice here. Let's be nice. Not a very good person to work with. I like, maybe, you know what? Maybe because you're not seasoned enough. You don't have the experience enough. But in being in QA, being in tech, being a developer, what I have seen, like the people that you really enjoy working with the most are the ones who are willing to help you, especially when you're new and like you're trying to understand, you're trying to ramp up, especially if it's like a new technology, a new field, or something like that. And to be getting attitude, like, because you know when someone doesn't really want to help you, but sometimes you don't really have a choice, so you have to go. But you know when someone like they have that trying to like push you away, you know. But the thing is, if you want to grow in the industry, into the field, if you want to be a leader, right? Then what one of my favorite content creators, Anton Daniels, always says is you have to be a servant leader, right? You have to lead by example. You have to show like you have to want to do it, right? So if you want to grow in the tech space, then you have to be willing to teach, right? You have to be willing to help people. So although I've been on YouTube since May of 20, like I think pretty much June 2023, right? I've been helping people grow in the industry for the past 15 to 20 years, right? I've never turned down helping somebody, especially like for the people that I worked with, right? And some of the people that I work with to this very day, like we met. What year are we in? We're in 2024. We met like maybe 2012, 2013, 2014, right? And to this day, we are great friends and always like looking out for each other, helping them level up, things like that, you know? And it was always a pleasure and a joy for me to help the people that I was working with because guess what? And honest to God truth, right? When you teach other people the knowledge that you have, it makes your life easier because you reduce the burden that you take on upon yourself. You know, it's not like what do you gain by trying to hold everything and then getting frustrated and annoyed by people who are trying to do the job to reduce the burden on you? To me, every time I teach somebody how to do something, right, I'm taking a load off of me. So and I'm also like helping them level up. You know, I it's funny because a lot of people like they don't like meetings, which I don't like meetings either, but I like the substance and the content that we get out of meetings, right? So like when I'm working with some people and we're like, okay, how could we do this? How can we make this work? How can we do this, right? And I'm like, oh, check out this link, check out this repo, check out this library. This can help you get to the goal that you're trying to accomplish, right? And we're working together, right? You know, like the more I talk, I'm like, okay, the more I see networking, right? But it's a different type of networking, right? It's not just like networking just to be in a group in a big room of people. It's actually making progress, right? The type of networking that I like is actually making progress. But by you by you saying that they're bugging you, right? You are going to lose. You are going to lose. Because if you do not want to teach people and you feel like you're getting, oh, I'm getting bothered, I'm getting bothered, I'm getting bothered, then what happens is that you're going to be left alone. And when you're left alone, you'll be left alone, right? And someone else is going, and this is what's going to happen, right? You're going to go out for a promotion, for a role, whatever, right? Because it doesn't take that long to go up in rank, like to be like maybe you start off as a Q engineer, you become a Q engineer level 1, level 2, whatever the case may be, right? It doesn't take that long. However, someone who is right next to you, right? And they're willing to help, they're willing to guide, they're willing to teach, they're going to get the position that you wanted, and you're going to be salty about it. But it's your fault because you didn't want to help people, you didn't want to teach people. When my new friend Maria asked me if I would do a presentation in the Grammar Hub Discord, I was like, absolutely, that's what I do, right? Like I'll put presentations on YouTube all the time. I'll do presentations at work all the time for anyone, for like whatever the case. Like I'll go anywhere and do a presentation for a group of people who are willing to learn and level up, right? And I'll answer their questions and whatever the case may be. But imagine if imagine if I accumulated all this knowledge for these past since I was a kid, right? When I was like 10 years old, I was swapping out a video card in a PC so I could play NBA Live on a computer, right? Like 30 years ago. But imagine if I was like, nope. Why are you bothering me? Nope. Then I have to take on like all of like if I'm advocating for people to write to have a testing mindset, to be able to write unit tests, but I refuse to help and teach in that realm, then what good am I? What good am I? So the people who are just like, I'm just gonna do my job and go home. I'm just gonna do my job and go home. Well, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you're doing everyone around you a disservice. And no one really wants to work with you, right? People will put up with you, but they don't really like you, right? They don't really like you. Anyways, I think you need to change your mindset. You need to change your attitude. You need to take on that servant leadership mindset to looking to serve others, and through that, you will be able to lead them. All right. So that is my thought on that. All right. So we are moving along. We are checking along. So if you are finding this information useful and fascinating, entertaining, all of that good stuff, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. We go live a lot. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays, sometimes Saturdays. All right. So definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give me a like on the video, like the video, share the video, drop me a line in the chat, or leave me a comment if you're watching this on replay, or maybe you're watching the clip, right? Leave me a comment, all right? Please do. I would love to hear from you and interact with you as well, okay? So, and by the way, if you need one-on-one coaching, technical coaching, career coaching, whatever the case may be, go ahead and check out www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can sign up there, become a tech barbarian, as well as get access to exclusive content. And if you just want to support the YouTube channel, go ahead and become a tech mercenary. Click the join now button and we can go from there. All right. Cool. Okay. Let's get into our next question because, like I said, I just got a notification on my phone that said, got a meeting in 30 minutes. So we gotta get through it. Okay. So let's get to our next question.
Another one.
Need suggestions how to treat people at work? I am curious to know if everyone is reaching out to you for all their work and they are throwing all their work on you. What needs to follow? But on the other hand, I want talk about run on sentences. Jeez. They should dependent. My goodness. All right. Let me try to break this down here. On the other hand, I want them should be dependent on me for work, but people are not doing effort to learn. But when I am doing anything, I am learning all the things in my way. Nobody helped me to learn, but all the people just want to take advantage of my knowledge. Oh my goodness. You did not go to school for English, definitely. Anyways, geez. Okay. They're getting paid more and getting high positions using my hard work and ideas. Oh, they finally have a period. Okay. How can we deny to work or helping them without knowledge? Okay. So I'm going to rephrase this terribly written question, right? So you're pretty much saying you're doing all the work. People keep reaching out to you and you are getting annoyed because they're taking credit for your work and they're getting paid more and they're stealing your ideas and stuff like that, right? So that's the question. That is the question, okay? Let's start our timer. Okay, so this is just like the last question, right? So, but I'm gonna put a twist to this, right? I think part of the problem is that you do not market yourself properly, and you're probably being a jerk when people reach out to you. The attitude that you portray is going to show, right? So when somebody comes to approach you and they ask you a question, they feel some type of hostility, like, oh, I don't want to help you, but I'm going to help you but I don't want to. I run towards the opportunities to get involved with other teams, to get involved with other people, just to be able to provide some insight of all the experience that I have, right? I remember, I remember, um, and this is outside of work, right? I was in one of the discords that I'm in. Somebody asked a question about like, how would you do this, right? But I asked a clarifying question, like, hey, like, what is it that you're trying to do? And they said, oh, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm like, okay, because when you like the way you asked it, like you kind of like neglected some of the potential ideas, and and then like so basically getting a better understanding. I'm like, okay, well, you can try this, and then did some research. Oh, I found this link. This might be what you're looking for, and stuff like that, right? So the point is that I always want to be available, right? I might not be able to answer right away, but I always want to be available to offer some insight, maybe not always expertise, because like it might be like something somewhat out of my domain, but I'm able to research it and figure it out and help someone solve a problem. When you are able to help people solve problems, they remember you, right? And when you're able to help them solve a problem in a positive spirit, positive attitude, they appreciate it and they know that you actually care about their success. Caring about people's success goes a long way, it makes a huge difference, right? So, with that being said, right? The other problem that you're having is you're not marketing yourself, and you just give this information and you don't share this information, and now nobody knows that it's your hard work that's coming from you. You need to like you need to be your best. You need to be your number one fan. You need to be your biggest supporter, right? Because guess what? No one has to do it for you. So me, I have no problem doing presentations to anyone, right? I'll do presentations at work. I'll do presentations in different discords. Like, and I have, no problem for me. Do presentations on YouTube, do live streams, answering questions, like being active in different, like finding different questions that people have, finding ways to answer it, finding the right answers and stuff like that. But so how to treat people at work, right? Not only with respect, not only with dignity, but with compassion and care, right? And people notice that you're always willing to throw your head into the ring, right? That your hand is always up. Nobody, like, guess what? You said nobody helped you learn anything, right? Nobody helped me learn anything either. Like I was talking about in the networking portion at the beginning, everything for me falls on me. But I have no problem sharing what I've learned with other people. Yeah, I I work crazy. Like I'm obsessed about what I'm learning, about the way that I work and stuff like that. I always want to win. I always want to be victorious, right? However, that doesn't mean that I don't want to share that with everyone else. Anyone who wants to hear, to listen, whatever information that I get, I don't mind sharing it. You know. Now, don't get me wrong. If if we're not working like one on one, I'm like if we're not having like a coaching agreement, uh, I I'm not gonna sit there and like go one on one with you, giving you all everything, right? Unless we work together, like at a company or something like that, or we are. I know you personally, right? But I don't mind sharing this information that I've like. It's like taking, right, the set of how did he say it? The skills that he's accumulated over the past X amount of years. I'm like Liam Nielsen and Taken. I have these skills. I don't mind sharing them with you in order for you to grow and level up. Right? And if you want to grow and level up, if you want one-on-one coaching, if you want access to exclusive information, go ahead and check out the Patreon, www.techcoachralph.dev. Get one-on-one coaching with me. I'll change your life. All right. So let's wrap up that question. All right. So this next one says
Another one.
automation testing from development. I was an Angular front-end developer, but this company offered me to join as an automation tester, training included. So I accepted, thinking that I could make the change in roles if I didn't like the position. Now, 2 years after that, I am still not sure what the right path is. I started to like testing, but I want to grow a lot, possibly moving to another country. What does that have to do with growth? But okay. And have high expectations for salary. I am not sure if testing is the path that would give me that. I am planning getting a certification in cloud this year, and I want to keep learning as much as I can technically. As cons for development, I've always felt so much pressure to be better, and that was always behind and that I was always behind and that I never knew enough. As a tester, I feel a balance between the pressure and my desire to actually learn at my pace. Also, it helps that my current project is very relaxed and gives me plenty of time to learn new stuff. Although it's not very challenging itself. Most testing is manual, which I find kind of boring and repetitive. Is QA is the QA roadmap is the QA roadmap as exciting as development? And the TLDR on this one was a developer, currently QA, not sure if going back to dev is the right choice. Well, so start the clock. So here's the deal, right? To put it in the nicest way possible, in the nicest way, and I mean this with all due respect. And as Ricky Bobby said in Talladega Nights, whenever you say with all due respect, you can say whatever you want after that, right? So, with all due respect, you are lazy. Yes, I said it. You are lazy. So, you know what? Well, I wonder which company offered you to do automation testing. Was it the company that you were already working for? And then they said, you know what? This person, like, we don't want to fire them because they know some stuff, but they're not moving fast enough. They're not learning the way that they should. They're not innovating and they're not moving on. So let's see if they can do automation, right? And then you accept it and everything like that. But now your automation has been downgraded. It's been downgraded to mostly manual testing, which is kind of boring and repetitive. Well, if you really wanted to learn and grow, you would have been working ferociously in order to learn the different frameworks, learn how to automate better. Like when I'm coaching, right? And like, especially if I'm coaching somebody who's actually working, especially in QA, right? And I'm like, well, and they'll say, they don't like the company's not really giving me the opportunity to automate and stuff like that. And opportunity. I'm like, create your own opportunity, right? Why can't you just start automating the stuff that you're working on? Oh, I don't have that much time. I don't have that. I'm like, well, if you want to learn it, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the company's time. You might have to take an hour before work or an hour after work or something to work on this stuff, to learn it. And that way, just because the company doesn't tell you to automate what you're testing, right? You can still automate it because it's going to help you with your testing. Because if it's repetitive, if it's manual and repetitive, right? Why haven't you automated if you're an automation tester? And then you can just press play. And then once that validates, you can have it take screenshots, you can have it record video, whatever, right? You can use Playwright, you can use Selenium, you can use Cypress. Doing a stream, I've been doing a stream the past month on that on Thursday nights, right? So many different things that you can do, but because you are lazy. You make excuses because of what you don't do, right? And I don't even know what moving to another country has to do with growth, right? The reason that I've seen QA positions posted that make $150,000, $200,000 a year. I don't know what country you're in, but it's possible here, right? But if you think you're just gonna be sitting around doing I think you're just gonna sit around doing manual testing all day long and you're gonna get higher salary, it's not gonna happen. But you don't want to learn the reason you say it's a con for development. No, it's a con for you because you you don't work well under pressure. And the reason that you feel so much pressure is because they're asking you to do your job. You don't want to do your job. Simple as that. You don't want to do your job, right? What can I say? So you're taking the easy route out because now, even as a tester, as an automation engineer who does mostly manual testing, which is kind of boring and repetitive, that's because you don't put in any effort. My current project is very relaxed and gives me plenty of time to learn new stuff, which you don't. You don't put in the work, you don't put in the effort, and that's on you. That is on you. So, I bet you getting your planning to get your cloud certification, which is probably never going to happen. But if you get your cloud certification, I bet my skills in the cloud without a certification is still 100 times better than your skills in the cloud with a certification, because you're probably just going to study for the cert, not have any practical experience, know how to answer a bunch of questions. But me, I can just jump into AWS. I can do Terraform it up. I can go in there. I can do whatever I need to do, right? Because I actually get hands-on practical experience every single day, right? You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. I want to keep learning as much as I can technically, right? But you also don't want to work. So I don't know. Right? Let's wrap that question up. All right. Well, that question was not the one. Well, I think that's it. That's all of our questions tonight, apparently. The last one, we had already did that one. Not sure how we got that one again. But before we wrap it up, we have 15 minutes till 9:30. So, like I said, I have to go. So, thank you guys for tuning in to the show. Let's end our poll to see how we ended up. All right. So, let's end the poll. And we had 83% said yes, networking is useful. 16% said it's somewhat, and 0% said no, networking is not useful at all. So, I'm in the somewhat for the most part. I would say what I said was, so this is how the conversation went, right? I said it's 10 to 15% useful, right? And then the person they said, oh, I think it's 70% ability, 30% skill, and they said the reason why. I said, you know what? I agree with you. I can meet you there. I can go up 10 to 15% to say 30% is networking is 30% useful. 70% falls on you, on your ability to not be lazy, to work hard, to put in that work. Right? Get this off the screen. To put in that work, to go out there and get it and be the master of your own destiny. I personally can't afford to live off the hope of someone doing something for me. I have to do it for myself. And then once I do it for myself, I can take it out there and share it with the world. All right. So that's my thoughts. thank you so much. Before we wrap it up, I have a question for you as well. And my question is,
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
is this not why you're here? And what do you think about this Heat hat? When I saw this hat, I'm like, this hat is absolutely stunning. It's amazing. I love it. Whether you're a Heat fan or not, Mr. Fabio. I'm not Boston Celtics fan, Fabio, whatever. Anyways, not going to talk about that, right? But anyways, thank you for tuning into the show. If you haven't done so yet, on your way out, do me a favor, like the video, share the video with everyone, put it on all over everywhere you are, share it there. Help people get this work, Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment, right? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about networking, about any of the questions, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. If you want, join the channel membership, become a tech mercenary. If you need one-on-one coaching or access to exclusive content that I do not put on YouTube, go ahead and join the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, where I help you level up your technical skills. All right. So, as well as check out the Grammar Hub Discord. The link should be circulating in the chat. It's also going to be in the description of the video. Check out the Chaos Camp GitHub, all that good stuff. All right. And I will see you guys on tomorrow morning. Actually, we're going live tomorrow morning. We're going to be working on Flutter. And then Thursday night, we're going to be continuing our work on free mind recovery. But there's something that you need to remember, right? Today's price is not going to be tomorrow's price.
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
It is what it is. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts. Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.